Statistics and Probability.
Good morning! Today, we will have a lecture about t-test for one sample case. Watch and listen to this video lesson. Let us have the definition and formula. One sample t-test of means compares the mean of a sample to a pre-specified value and tests for a deviation from that value. Formula: T is equal to the sample mean minus the hypothesized mean all over the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size, wherein our degrees of freedom is equal to n minus 1. T-test for one sample case is applicable for sample size less than 30 or if the variance is unknown. Let us have some examples. Read the problem and conduct the hypothesis testing. A school board wanted to see if reading test scores have changed in the past 30 years by testing a random sample of 20 students to see whether there is a significant change from the average score of 78 30 years ago. The 20 students got a mean score of 72.4 and a standard deviation of 14.5. At 0.05 level of significance, what can the school board conclude? Step 1. The null hypothesis. The average reading test score is 78. Or in symbol, hypothesized mean is equal to 78. Alternative hypothesis. The average reading test score is not 78. Or the hypothesized mean or population mean is not equal to 78 in symbols, and it is non-directional of the presence of not equal. Step 2. Our alpha or level of significance is 0.05. Step 3. T-test for one sample case. So since it's t-test, we'll use t-table to determine the critical value. And it is directional, so we'll need to look for the two-sided p, and the alpha is 0.05, so two-sided p of 0.05 is there. And then the df is n minus 1, so 20 minus 1, 19. And the intersection of the two is 2.093. So let's move on to step 4. Since our n is less than 30 and our alternative hypothesis is non-directional and our alpha is 0.05, the critical value is positive negative 2.093. This means that if the computed t is greater than 2.093 or less than negative 2.093, then the null hypothesis will be rejected and accept the alternative hypothesis. If not, then they accept the null hypothesis. Step 5. Calculation of the t. T is equal to the sample mean minus the population mean or the hypothesized mean all over standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Given, our sample mean is 72.4, our hypothesized mean is 78, our standard deviation is 14.5, and the sample size of 20. Substitute it to the formula. We have t is equal to 72.4 minus 78 all over 14.5 divided by the square root of 20. 72.4 minus 78, we have here negative 5.6. And the square root of 20 is 4.4721. So that's why we have here t is equal to negative 5.6 all over 14.5 divided by 4.4721. Next, 14.5 divided by 4.721 is 3.2423. So we have here t is equal to negative 5.6 divided by 3.2423, which is equal to negative 1.73. For our step 6, since the computed value of t is negative 1.73, which is less than 2.093 or greater than the negative 2.093, the null hypothesis is accepted. Therefore, the reading test score of the school does not change after 30 years. Our second example. A certain brand of shampoo advertises as having a net volume of 75 ml. If the net volume of a random sample of 15 bottles are 73 ml, 73 ml, 72 ml, 76 ml, 75 ml, 72 ml, 72 ml, 71 ml, 74 ml, 73 ml, 74 ml, 73 ml, 75 ml, 74 ml, 74 ml. Can it be concluded that the average net volume of the bottles is less than the advertised amounts? Use a 0.01 level of significance. Let us solve the mean and standard deviation first. The mean is 73.4 ml and the standard deviation is 1.35. We are now ready to conduct hypothesis testing. Step 1. The null hypothesis. The average volume of shampoo is 75 ml. And then we have here the hypothesized mean, which is 75 in symbols. Then alternative hypothesis, the average volume of shampoo is less than 75 ml. In symbol, hypothesized mean is less than 75 and it is directional because of the less than. Step 2. Alpha is equal to 0.01 and step 3 t-test for one sample case. For our step 4, we need the t-table. So for our t-table, let's look for the one-sided p because of directional. Since it is directional, we'll look for one-sided p wherein our alpha is 0.01. So one-sided p 0.01 is there. And then we also have to look for our df. Our df is equal to n minus 1 where n is 15. So 15 minus 1, 14. And the intersection of the two is 2.624. So since n is less than 30 and our alternative hypothesis is directional and alpha is equal to 0.01, the critical value is negative 2.624. This means that if the computed t is less than negative 2.624, then the null hypothesis will be rejected and accept the alternative hypothesis. If not, then accept the null hypothesis. Step 5. Let's compute for the value of t, wherein t is equal to the sample mean minus the hypothesized mean all over the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Given, our sample mean here is 73.4, hypothesized mean is 75, our standard deviation is 1.35, and our sample size is 15. So we substitute it to the formula. We have t is equal to 73.4 minus 75 all over 1.35 divided by the square root of 15. And we have here the difference of 73.4 and 75 is negative 1.6 and the square root of 15 is 3.873. That's why we have here t is equal to negative 1.6 divided by or all over 1.35 divided by 3.873. And then 1.35 divided by 3.873 is 0.3486. So we have here t is equal to negative 1.6 over 0.3486. Using our calculator, our t is negative 4.59. Since the computed value of t is negative 4.59, which is less than the negative 2.64, the null hypothesis is rejected. Therefore, the volume of the shampoo is less than 75 ml. This further suggests that the company of this brand of shampoo is untruthful. It is now your turn to answer. Read the problem and conduct the hypothesis testing. In a recent survey, it was stated that Filipinos use social media an average of 6 hours per day. You conducted a survey on your 25 classmates and the average number of hours they use social media is 4.6 hours with a standard deviation of 0.9 hours. At 0.02 level of significance, what can you conclude? If you have some suggestions, comments, and queries regarding our topic, just give your thoughts under the comment section or directly ask me through Messenger. Thank you. See you next topic.